Think we're live. Let's see. Yep, I think we're live. Let's see. Just gotta. Bear with me, folks. How do you find the Instagram stream key? Create live video. There it is. Save. Okay. I think we're live. I see we're good on Twitter. Let me make sure. I tried doing Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. But this is my first time doing this, so I don't really know. I don't see it on YouTube. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Works. Okay. Sweet. We're live on 2 of them. Let's try Instagram. I don't think we're live on Instagram. Whatever. Twitter and YouTube's good enough for now, but thank you all for joining. We are live on my Twitter and my YouTube for a very exciting moment. It is the 2025 bracket reveal presented by Roback. Go to roback.com. Use code Marsh. That's me. 20% off your first order. You can use the QR code that is listed, or you can just go on the website as is and type in Marsh afterwards. So yeah, love Roback, rocking the hat, rocking the t-shirt. For those of you who have known me for a long time know that I love Roback, and it's pretty much all I wear. So that's that. So we'll put the mini one up for now because the real reason you're all here, this guy, the 2025 NCAA tournament bracket. Definitely a different setting for me this year. I was thinking to myself, I think this is the first tournament since 2017 that I'm not actively working in some capacity. Obviously, I'm still going to be keeping up on social and all of that, but 2018 and 19, I was calling it for student radio for Syracuse, and then Vermont, Voice of the Catamounts, and then obviously my time with PMT for 2021 through 2024. So I'm trying this thing on my own for now, give the people what they want, and get them a bracket. And for those who have never seen me fill out a bracket before, just know that I'm very bad at this. As much as I love this event, it's my favorite event in the whole world. 2 of the last 3 years, I have picked a champion that was not only eliminated in the first round, they were eliminated on the very first day. Yes, day of the tournament. 2023, I had Kentucky winning it all. They lost to St. Peter's. 2022 had Kentucky, lost to St. Peter's. 2023 had Arizona, 2 seed. They lost to Princeton. Last year I had UNC. They got past the first round, and I felt like a champion, but I was not. But we're going to change things up right here, and we are going to fill out the 2025 bracket. And again, presented by Roback. Roback.com, 20% off, code Marsh. Okay, well, enough of the shenanigans. Let's get to it. Here's my bracket live on Twitter and YouTube. Starting things off, obviously Auburn. Louisville Creighton, the first game of the tournament in terms of Thursday. You've got a Louisville team that Pat Kelsey's come in and he's really just transformed the program. Obviously, Louisville won it all with Rick Pitino just 12 years ago, but since then, it has been not only lows, it has been rock bottom for the Cardinals. They've been one of the worst teams in all of Power Conference basketball. They're going up against a Creighton team that has made some runs in the tournament before, but I guess from Creighton standards, this has been a meh season for them compared to where they've been in the past, much higher seeding. Love this matchup. I'm going to go with Pat Kelsey and Louisville. Give me Louisville over Creighton to start off the tournament. Going over to Michigan and UC San Diego, this is probably, if not the biggest sexy pick for an upset. The Tritons, 30 wins this year. Michigan coming off that hot Big Ten tournament championship. I believe I saw Michigan was only favored by a bucket. I think it was 2.5. Late Thursday game. The trendy pick is UC San Diego, champions of the Big West. I'm going to go with Michigan. I love what Dusty May has done in year one. Year one, usually these coaches take some time to go from old school to new school and turn them into something. Rick Pitino with St. John's, they missed the tournament in year one. Eric Musselman with USC, love the Must Bus. 2 back-to-back Elite Eights with Arkansas, but they didn't make the tournament this year. But what Dusty May has done in Ann Arbor is something that should not be overlooked. So I'm going to go with Michigan over UC San Diego. Texas A&M and Yale, the 4-13 game on Thursday night. Yale, they're in the same exact spot as they were last year, folks. And by that, I mean they're a 13 seed, champions of the Ivy League via the AQ. And they knocked out a 4 seed from the SEC last year. And that happens to be the 1 seed in this year's number 1 overall seed in this year's tournament in Auburn. So here they are, same spot, same conference opponent. And they're also going to be a popular pick. But I like Buzz. Buzz has been in this moment before. Obviously, James Jones and Yale has, but I like Buzz. I think this is this little sub-region here. Where are these games taking place? Seattle, I think. Denver. A lot of people love taking a 12 against a 13. Obviously, I'm probably going to be wrong, but I'm going chalk so far. I'm going chalk. Trust me, the upsets will come. And they're going to come in the form of the first 4 winner between San Diego State and North Carolina. What has been the biggest storyline of Selection Sunday, post-Selection Sunday, I should say? It has been the inclusion of North Carolina. I wrote earlier today about what John Rothstein had to say on part of my take, how it was the biggest miscarriage of justices that the Tar Heels were included in this year's field of 68. But usually when something like this happens, what happens? That team shuts everybody up. Maybe with the exception of Virginia last year, I think everyone was on board with them being out, and they showed why they were so bad when it came to tournament time. But I like what Chris Beard's done with Ole Miss. Obviously, I get both teams here with San Diego State. So I'm going to take the 11 over the 6. I think it's every year except 2019. A team has played in Dayton and advanced to at least the round of 32. We've seen teams go from first 4 to final 4 too. So there can always be fireworks in Dayton. Iowa State and Lipscomb. Fun fact about Lipscomb, their team name is the Bisons. Bison is plural for bison, but for some reason, Lipscomb, I didn't mean to click them. I'm picking Iowa State. But Lipscomb, for some reason, when I was with Vermont, we called a game in Nashville. They're located in Nashville. And for some reason, they go by the Bisons, even though that's not correct grammar. I always thought that was really interesting when it came to Lenny Acuff's squad. But 25-9 out of the A-Sun, and they've got Iowa State, who it was reported yesterday, Keyshawn Gilbert, one of, if not their best players, he's probably not going to be available. I still think it's enough to get by the Bisons, but I'm going to go with the Cyclones here. Marquette against New Mexico. We got Shaka Smart's team against Richard Pitino's squad. Big East, Mountain West. This is an interesting game. This is my first stumper. I'm thinking through. I'm looking at KenPom off screen right now. They've got Marquette by 3. This game is not till Friday night. I like Shaka. My tiebreaker in these toss-up games is coaching. And Richard Pitino is an unbelievable coach, don't get me wrong. But Marquette has Shaka. And then Michigan State over Bryant. Still a little bitter that we don't have Vermont representing the America East in this year's tournament. First time in 4 years, but Bryant deserves it. Good for them. They'll get Coach Izzo's squad late on Friday night. Also, this can be up for debate. Sound off in the comments. Do people go round by round or region by region? I'm a round by round guy, so I'm not going to go back up here to Auburn, Louisville. I'm going to go down to the West region and go first round and then back up to the top of the bracket. So we're going to go here. By the way, I'm going to also track Twitter comments and YouTube comments to interact with the chat. So you can reply to this tweet or go to my YouTube. My YouTube, I've really only used it for demo reels and class projects. Back in the day at Syracuse, if you scroll all the way down, you'll see random videos. But yeah, that's the backstory about my YouTube. If you start stalking that, I won't judge you. There's nothing crazy on there besides my demo reels and my Syracuse projects back in the day. Anyways, back to the West region. Obviously, the Florida Gators versus Norfolk State. Norfolk State has made noise in this tournament before, coming in 2012 against Missouri. It was the same day that Lehigh beat Duke. CJ McCollum, 2 15s over 2 2s in the same day. It's pretty crazy. But that is how I'm going to start off this region. UConn, Oklahoma. Man, this is fun. Obviously, Dan Hurley's riding back-to-back national championships. Majority new players besides Caravan. He gets Porter Moser, guy who's obviously been to a Final Four as well in the form of Loyola Chicago in 2018. This is a very fun matchup, and obviously the Gators deserve that 1 seed, but I don't know. I feel like there's softer 8-9 teams out there versus UConn and Oklahoma, against UConn and Oklahoma. But I'm going to take Hurley. It's the respect factor. He's not getting bounced round 1. Memphis and Colorado State. Penny Hardaway has done a good job this year kind of silencing the outside noise. I want to say it was a year or two ago. I feel like his assistants dropped like flies. Maybe it was, I might be confusing it with another year, but I'm pretty sure there was a lot of extracurricular activities going on in Memphis. And look what happened here. They won the AAC. They get a 5 seed. It's a very high seed for this league, with the exception of when Houston was in this league and they were 1 seeds year in and year out, it felt like. And then Colorado State, Nico Medved. You know, a fun fact about Colorado State, now I feel like I'm rambling, but I feel like it'd be boring if I just clicked teams and ended it. So I appreciate everyone hanging out on this Monday night. Ollie Farouk-Manesh, Northern Iowa legend, 2010 March Madness hero, against Kansas in the second round. He's an assistant coach for this Colorado State team. So he can drum up an amazing speech in the locker room being like, you want to be a March hero? Here's what it takes, because that man right there is a March Madness hero. I'm going to go with Memphis here. I know Tyrese Hunter might not be playing. Transfer from Iowa State and Texas, but this is a tough game. I feel like 5s and 12s are such a trendy pick, and I'm going with 2 5s so far. But I feel like 14s over 3s and 15s over 2s are the new 12s over 5s. Like, people always say you have to have a 12 over a 5, and I might. I haven't gotten to the other side of the bracket yet, but I feel like 12s over 5s, it feels like you have to have them here and there. But I'm not going to have it here. Maryland Grand Canyon. Maryland's been a fun story this year, right? Scott Willard doing a great job. What do they call it? The Turtle Five? What is it called? It's bugging me. Crab Five. That's what we're talking about here. Yeah, listen, with the Big Ten, there's always going to be those hesitations, and Maryland's a team that's had good teams in years past, but this is their best team in a very long time. This game taking place Friday night. Grand Canyon, a team, that won in the tournament last year versus, who was it? St. Mary's. That was a 12-5 game, I believe. Here they are as a 13. Bryce Drew, obviously a tournament hero as well. But I'm going to go with the Terps. I know it's chalky. Don't worry, the chaos will come. And if I'm picking against your team, just remember, I'm usually wrong. I usually suck at these things. Missouri versus Drake. Drake was a popular pick last year. I think they were a 10 seed. And they kind of cleaned house last year. Their coach left, Coach DeVries, for West Virginia, which was the first team out. And they've obviously not been shy about where they think things stand right now. With the NCAA tournament committee, I saw the West Virginia governor got involved, and he was on the Yak today. Great get by the Yak. Love those guys. Versus Missouri, and these SEC teams. There's people who say, how do these SEC teams who go almost 500 in conference play safely get in the tournament? Well, anyone in the SEC is basically a quad 1 win. So tip of the cap to Missouri. I just don't like how they're playing right now. They enter the tournament, loses a 4 of 5 and 5 of 7. So I'm going to go with the Bulldogs here. Ben McCollum, bringing over a lot of these guys from Division II, I believe. They've only lost 3 games all year. They beat Vanderbilt in November. That's a tournament team. I'm going to go with Drake. I think Titus and I had him for bracket busters a few years ago. But I think they get the job done. So I'm going, so far I've got all chalk and both 11s. Both 11s so far. Texas Tech and UNC Wilmington. Not much to break down here. I like the Seahawks. They're back in the tournament for the first time, I think, since 2017, when actually Kevin Keats was their coach, who just got fired from NC State after taking them to the Final Four. But I'm going to go with the Red Raiders here. They're always a team that can certainly prove that they've been in the mix multiple times. They have a new coach now with Grant McCasland. He took them in the tournament last year, but they were one and done. I think they get back this time around, and we'll see what happens. This is where things get fun. These games are in Providence. Kansas and Arkansas, right when the selection show came out yesterday, and we saw Bill Self, we see John Calipari, and then down there is Rick Pitino. And then there's Omaha. No disrespect to Omaha. They've got Trash Can Man. That's what I'm calling him, because they've took the college basketball world by storm these last few weeks. But starting off with this game taking place Thursday night, Kansas and Arkansas, it's Bill Self. How can you not? I think John Calipari is just, how can you confidently take John Calipari in an NCAA tournament game, considering what we've seen the last few years? I know it's a new school. I know it's a new team and a new setting. But, like, come on. We're talking about Bill Self versus John Calipari in the tournament. And I feel like no one can blame me, not even Arkansas fans, for not believing in Coach Calipari in a tournament setting. I mean, St. Peter's, Oakland. I think they only made the round of 32 2 years ago. So I'm going to go with the Jayhawks to take on St. John's. And that's going to probably set up what could be the juiciest round 32 matchup, which we'll get to later. But Omaha, great season. Shout out Jordan Sarnoff, their SID, who used to be Fairleigh Dickinson's SID when they beat Purdue. So here's where we're at. My regions look identical in terms of numbers. All chalk with the exception of the 2 11s in the first round. And now we move on to the East region. Duke, American Mount St. Mary's, don't need to break that one down. Mississippi State and Baylor. Chris Jans, they've been part of the Barstool Invitational a couple of times over the last couple of years. And then this is going to be the first game on Friday. These 8-9s, they're not fun to pick. When is this game taking place? Yeah, first game on Friday. I said that. I'm an idiot. I'm going to go with Baylor here. VJ Edgecombe, talented freshman. And we could get a Jeremy Roach revenge game right here. Ooh. Jeremy Roach, former Blue Devil, with Baylor now. That would be fun to see. Oregon Liberty. Oregon Liberty. Richie McKay, head coach of the Flames. Conference USA champions. And for the first time this year, or for the first time in their history, representing the Big Ten Conference, it's the Oregon Ducks. This game taking place Friday night as well. One of the last, if not, it is the last tip of the first round to wait this long for a 12-5 game. Oregon's interesting. I'm looking at their schedule now. They lost 5 straight from January 25th to February 8th. But since then, they got really hot. This is a tough one. Oh, man. I'm going to go with Oregon here. I'm going to keep it mellow. Arizona, Akron. Also members, Barstool Invitational alums. So I'm going to go with Akron here. This is my first big fireworks of the first round. Give me John Gross. Give me the Zips to take down Arizona and Tommy Lloyd. And Akron, it advances on Friday night to the round of 32. BYU, VCU. I'm taking 3 for 3 in terms of the 11 seeds. You know who the head coach of VCU is, folks? His name is Ryan Odom. You know who Ryan Odom is? He was the head coach of the University of Maryland Baltimore County Retrievers in 2018, UMBC, when they beat Virginia. You know how that ended. And to come full circle, you know who's been at the top of the list for Virginia's coaching list over the last few days? Ryan Odom. That would be wild if Coach Odom heads to Charlottesville. Wouldn't be a long move for him. He's already in Richmond, VCU. So that's something to monitor. I'm not going to pick against Wisconsin in the first round. I've been against Wisconsin before. And for those of you who are AWLs, know exactly how that went. Not doing it again. That was my mistake. I was wrong. I have learned from my errors. St. Mary's and Vanderbilt. Shout out Vanderbilt getting to the tournament. They've been so bad for so long. Taking on a St. Mary's team representing the WCC. They're always in it with Gonzaga. Why do I feel like all these games are taking place Friday? I feel like I haven't picked a Thursday game in a while. But yeah, aside from Gonzaga and 1-point loss to San Francisco, the Gales haven't lost since December 22nd against Utah State. Meanwhile, Vanderbilt, they lost 3 in a row. All the tournament teams. But I'm going to go with the Gales here. I'm going to go with the Gales of St. Mary's to advance in the round of 64. And they're going to take on Alabama. Shout out Bobby Moe and Robert Morris. And we're down to the final region in the round of 64. It is the Midwest. Just checking to see if we have any comments. First game, we've been different so far. I have a whopping 7 people watching live on YouTube. Appreciate you guys. I think there's a lot more on Twitter. I don't know who. Yeah, I'm looking at the breakdown. You guys can't see this, but it says I have 6,627 people watching live right now. There's 6,620 of you watching on Twitter and 7 watching on YouTube. Again, I don't really publicize my YouTube account, but appreciate the 7. Now 8 watching live. But I guess that's the only way to chat. There's no Twitter chat besides replying to the tweet. And here we go. The Midwest region, Houston over SIU Edwardsville. Shout out the Cougars for going dancing. Gonzaga, Georgia, 8-9. Weird to see Gonzaga all the way down on that 8 line. I think they were a 5 seed last year, but this is the first year where they're going to get overlooked most likely. And sure, they can beat Georgia, but not a lot of people are going to have them winning here. I am going to have them winning in the round of 64 on Thursday night. Clemson McNeese. Folks, I called 2 Clemson games. I was fortunate enough to call them for CBS Sports Network back in November. This team is good. Ian Shefflin, Chase Hunter, Brad Brownell. I know he's been in the Indiana coaching rumors recently. The big man, Victor Lock-in, transfer from Cincinnati. I'm really sold on this Clemson Tigers team. I really am. And I'm taking them to beat McNeese. I think similar to UC San Diego, Will Wade's squad is a very popular pick. And I think they were last year as well. And I think they got blown out of the gymnasium. Let me refresh my memory. Yeah, they actually played Gonzaga in a 12-5 game. And that was a popular upset pick. And they lost by 21. No disrespect, but the Southland Conference, I don't know how much that's going to show of us. And yes, they're 30-3, but in terms of non-conference wins, they did beat Michigan. That's very impressive on December 29th in terms of McNeese. But besides that, a win against VCU, impressive as well. But those are back in November. And I know that matters for the resume, but in terms of how you're playing right now, games against Biblical Studies, Champion Christian, Le Tourneau, and the Mississippi University for women. I respect women, but that non-conference schedule is not really doing it for me, that portion. And I'm kind of contradicting myself because they did beat VCU and Michigan, who are both in the dance. But it's just the Southland Conference. I can't get that out of my head. It's usually a league that sends teams to Dayton in the first 4, 16 seeds. So, yeah, that's where I'm at with McNeese. Love Will Wade, great guy, but I'm taking Clemson. Purdue and High Point. I'm taking the Panthers. You know, it's interesting because when Virginia lost as the number 1 seed to the 16 seed Fairleigh Dickinson, or excuse me, UMBC, they won it all the next year, and then they lost in the first round again soon after to Furman. Purdue lost to a 16 seed, made it all the way to the championship, and I think they're going to lose in the first round again. And then that discourse is going to be, oh, okay, thank God for that run, because they've been bouncing the first round a lot recently. And again, if you know me, you know I'm a sucker for storylines. So that's just a storyline in my head. It doesn't really say a lot about what it means for this Purdue team. So I'm going to go with High Point, a team that, let me pull up their Ken Palm. Yeah, champions of the Big South. They have not lost since January 16th. And why not? Why not? High Point. Illinois against Texas/Xavier. Xavier and Texas playing on Wednesday night in the first 4, but I'm going to go with the Fighting Illini and Kentucky fans, take a sigh of relief because you're getting through the first round this year. Golf clap. New regime, new era. Mark Pope gets you to at least the round of 32. Mazel tov. UCLA and Utah State. McCronin, last time his team was very overlooked in the tournament. Went to the Final Four as an 11 seed against a Utah State team, which I believe I heard this during the selection show, and I want to confirm it, but I think this is the third straight year they're in a tournament. They're in the tournament with a different head coach, which is pretty bonkers for that to be true. But UCLA, again, when in doubt, I go coaching. And no disrespect to Coach Calhoun of Utah State, but I'm going to go with Coach Cronin and Tennessee. Shout out Wofford. Fun fact, Wofford's alumni actually played in Lexington. I called that game for the TBT last year. So maybe some fans will be making it back there, and they already know the background of Lexington, Kentucky. But I'm taking Tennessee, and there is your first round. So biggest takeaways. I have 3 11 seeds moving on, everyone but Illinois. And then my big upsets are on the right side of the bracket. High Point over Purdue, Akron over Arizona. So let's take a breather. Again, if you're just joining us, welcome. I appreciate you joining us. Take a look at this amazing Rowback discount. Wearing the shirt right now, wearing the hat. Use code Marsh, 20% off. Just zap that QR code and type in my promo code. I appreciate everyone who's purchased gear so far. If you know me from my time on Part of My Take, you know how much I love Rowback. If you pull up a clip of me on Part of My Take, there's probably a 90% chance that I'm wearing Rowback in that clip. I'm not just saying it because they've given me free merch over the years during my time with PMT. I'm saying it because it is genuinely the most comfortable gear I've ever worn. And the range at Rowback is crazy because I wear it when I'm golfing all the time. I'm wearing it just hanging out right now. There's exercise clothes. There's comfy joggers. Shout out Rowback. Snap that code. Use code Marsh, 20% off your first order. You cannot go wrong. I'm going to get that one away. You solved the one on the top left of your top left corner of your screen. All right, let's see if we have any chats. Nick says, YouTube crew, rise up. Go Gators. We now have 15 people watching on YouTube. Shout out to the loyal 15. All right, we got a healthy audience coming from Twitter, though. It says almost 8,000 watching live on Twitter, which I really appreciate you guys. All right, round 32. Back to the top left we go. It is the South region. Auburn, Louisville, Bruce Pearl, Pat Kelsey. I don't have the guts to flip things upside down just yet. So Auburn will take on the winner of Michigan and Texas A&M. Will we have an SEC matchup in the Sweet 16, or will Michigan and Dusty May keep it going? Go blue. Give me Michigan, a team that a lot of people might have out in the first round. I have the Wolverines advancing to the Sweet 16 against Auburn. San Diego State / North Carolina versus Iowa State. You mentioned Keyshawn Gilbert's status not being optimistic. We mentioned the storyline of North Carolina not deservedly being in this tournament. Same thing happened when Syracuse, my senior year, 2018, they were in the first 4. No one thought they should be in. They got in. They made it to the Sweet 16. That's exactly what North Carolina is going to do. And if San Diego State wins, I have the Aztecs too. Coach Dutcher, he's made the national championship game 3 years ago. 2 years ago? 2 years ago. So I feel good with both. I love Coach Otzelberger. Got to be healthy in March. Marquette, Michigan State. January, February, though. Nothing else needs to be said. And this was a matchup in the round of 32 last year, 2 years ago in Columbus, and I think it was flipped. Michigan State was the 7, Marquette was the 2. Izzo advanced. Izzo advances again. Much better team. Florida, Connecticut. The last 2 schools to go back-to-back meet in round 2. The Gators, from in terms of national championship contender perspective, kind of came out of nowhere this year. I don't know how many people outside of Gainesville expected them to be a 1 seed, considering how up and down they've been for Gator standards. And UConn, obviously, they have a ton of roster turnover, and Coach Hurley just gets the job done. I love Coach Hurley. He's up there with my top. He's up there with Muss and Cooley for my favorite coaches in college basketball, based off the experiences I've been fortunate to have with them. But I think for the first time since 2022, UConn gets knocked out in the NCAA tournament. Not really a hot take. Gators the 1 seed, but I would love Coach Hurley to prove me wrong and say, Jake, you were wrong. Been wrong before. Memphis, Maryland. Fun game. I'm going to take the Terps. Crab 5. So I have Maryland and Michigan in the Sweet 16 and Michigan State. So again, the Big Ten has not won an NCAA tournament since the Spartans in 2000. I have 3 already going to the Sweet 16 out of 6 teams. Okay. Drake and Texas Tech. I'm going to take Drake here. I have 2 11 seeds in the Sweet 16. Shout out Coach McCollum. Kansas and St. John's. Bill Self. Rick Pitino. St. John's is so good. Rick Pitino is so freaking good. I'm taking the Red Storm. 1-4, 11-2, 1-5, 11-2. So some similarities on the left side, advancing to the Sweet 16. Now we go to the top right. We have Ben Corley in the YouTube chat. AWL here. Any chance we see you call the Ryder Cup or mini golf? I don't know if that door is still open. My schedule is actually pretty busy in April, fortunately, with the PGA Tour. I have 3 events in April. I have the Valero Texas Open, which is the week before the Masters. I'm on the call for the RBC Heritage, which is the signature event after the Masters. And then I have the CJ Cup Byron Nelson, which I think Scotty Scheffler just committed to, which is, it runs from the last week of April to the first weekend of May. So if the schedule works out and they want me to come up, of course, I'd be open to it. But just trying to keep my momentum busy as we turn to April. Kind of crazy that college basketball season is almost over. See if we have any comments from Twitter. Not right now, but let me know if anything comes up. 19 people watching on YouTube. Shout out Ben. Okay. Duke Baylor. These are in Newark. It's interesting when you have the East region in the New York City area, it's usually at the Garden, but they gave it to the Rock Prudential Center. And that's where Duke Baylor will be playing, according to me. Duke's going to win. Obviously, Cooper Flagg's injury status is important. We'll see how that goes. Oregon, Akron. Akron, obviously, a very big upset over Arizona in the first round. I don't think they can do it twice, though. Oregon advances and has to take the long trip from Eugene to Newark, the top of the country. Virginia Commonwealth versus Wisconsin. Sorry, Big Cat. Sorry. But the last time I took a stance against Wisconsin, I was wrong, and your team won the Big Ten title, and we stormed the court together. So it's good because it's good for you because I'm usually wrong about Wisconsin. And if I'm wrong here, that means your Badgers are heading to Newark in the Sweet 16. But I think VCU can go on that big run and knock out the Badgers. All right, St. Mary's against Alabama. No, I can't do it again. Bama, 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 Bama. So I have 2 11s and 2 2s right here facing off in the Sweet 16. And to our final region, Houston Gonzaga. Juicy. Very, very juicy. Am I about to do this? I don't think so. I want to, but I'm not. I was close. Houston over Gonzaga. Clemson, High Point. The luck runs out for the Panthers. I love this Clemson team. I really do. Give me Clemson. Illinois, Kentucky. That's a fun one. Kentucky. And UCLA, Tennessee, the final game in the round of 32. Do I do this? Do I do it? Do I? What's Tennessee been up to? I know they were a top 4 seed in the SEC tournament. Screw it, I'm doing it. Mick Cronin, like I said earlier, he's done well in the tournament when he doesn't have a lot of pressure on him. And I'm taking it. So we're down to the Sweet 16. Biggest storylines for me. We have 3 11 seeds in the Sweet 16. Drake, San Diego State / North Carolina, and VCU all advancing to the second weekend. All ones advance. Every 2 except Tennessee moves on. I feel like Tennessee fans hate me because I don't believe in them, but they need to make a run at the Final Four. I'm going to tweet out I'm going to bump this on Twitter. Still live. I know this is riveting. First time doing this. My bracket. I feel like Mike Francesa right now. About to start the Sweet 16. Use code Marsh at roback.com to get 20% off your first order. Post. Okay. Moving on to the Sweet 16. Apologies, that was definitely boring. From Sean in the chat. You're doing great at the golf, Jake. It's so crazy to hear your voice on highlights out of nowhere. Thank you, Sean. I really appreciate it. It's definitely surreal to be calling the best players in the world playing these PGA Tour events. And I'm excited to do that RBC Heritage and Valero Texas Open, the master sandwich, if you will. Also, speaking of the Masters, stay tuned. Brian says Tennessee just lost to Florida in the SEC championship. They'll be hungry. That's right. They could be hungry, but they could also be gassed. And we'll see what happens. Again, folks, I'm usually wrong, so you want me to pick against your team. All right, Sweet 16. Auburn, Michigan. Auburn and Michigan. Dusty May. Oops. Dusty May gets it done. A team that many might have out in the round of 64. I have them going to within 40 minutes of the Final Four. And folks, you know how much I love storylines. So what better way to wrap up this region than the Battle of the Mitten State? Michigan, Michigan State for the right to go to the Final Four, because why not? Down to the West, Florida, Maryland, 1-4. I'm not going to have 3-for-3 Big Ten teams in the Elite Eight. I'm sorry. That would be way too aggressive. Gators get the job done. Drake, St. John's. Love Drake, but after those 2 games in 3 days, that's usually when Cinderella dies, because the other teams get more time to study up on the tape, and you give Rick Pitino 4 days to prep for a Drake team, he beats them. Florida, St. John's, Michigan, Michigan State, the left side of my Elite Eight. Up to the top right, Duke and Oregon. I believe this was the exact same game when Coach K had that talking to Dylan Brooks when they lost to them. I think it was 2016, 2016, same spot. But Duke gets the job done here. I think Cooper Flagg. I think I said this earlier on a different show. Duke should consider sitting Cooper Flagg on Friday night. Is that crazy? Yes. But might it be smart? Maybe. Like American Mount St. Mary's, probably not beating Duke. Duke already won the ACC without Cooper Flagg. I think they can handle American Mount St. Mary's without him. Bring him back for Baylor. Give him a full week plus to come back. Why rush him? You're probably favored. What does KenPom have the winning by? Like 25? Let's see. KenPom has there's no line yet because of the playing game, but Duke's gonna win this game by double figures. So what's the rush? Shout out Lola Wolf in the YouTube chat and Ryan Levy, hole-in-one partner. Virginia Commonwealth versus Alabama. Can Ryan Odom get it done? Can he knock out Bama? Bama. Don't get cute, Jake. Don't get cute. I realize I have 2 1 versus 2 matchups, and that's most likely not going to happen, but, it is what it is. All right. So we have 1-2, 5-2, 1-2, which is pretty chalky until we get here to the Midwest. I'm taking the Clemson Tigers to reach the Elite Eight. Why? Because pretty much I called their games. That's the biggest reason. This tournament has proved to me that I can study these games as much as I want. And the matter of the fact is, it proves to me year in and year out that I don't know crap about this tournament. I love this tournament. It gives me so much excitement. But the bottom line is, if I go by the numbers, the metrics, the seeds, I've been wrong plenty of times before and things blow up in my face. So I'm taking Clemson to beat Houston and Brad Brownell. Kentucky, UCLA, blue blood matchup to wrap up the Sweet 16. What shall we do here? We're going to take Kentucky. You're going to give me Clemson, Kentucky in the Elite Eight. And I believe we played each other in the ACC SEC Challenge. Am I making that up? No. Clemson beat Kentucky 70-66 December 3rd. I do remember that. That would be wild, Jake. Very cool, Jake, in the YouTube chat. 26 people, high score, watching right now. And now the Elite Eight. So we have 5-2, 1-2, 1-2, 5-3 in my Elite Eight. Getting closer to the finish line. Starting off with the Battle of Michigan. It's the Wolverines of the University of Michigan out of Ann Arbor. East Lansing's Michigan State Spartans. We had that kerfuffle in East Lansing a week ago to end the regular season. More bad blood here, except this time a trip to San Antonio and the Final Four is on the line. And Michigan State cuts down the nets and is heading to San Antonio. January, February, Izzo. Florida, St. John's, number 1 versus number 2. SEC tournament champions, Big East tournament champions. I've already realized I've done something that I don't usually like to do, and I usually like to fade tournament champions because everyone's like, oh, they're so hot, but UConn won it all last year, so throw that theory out the window. This is tough. I love the Gators. I love the Gators. And I grew up a diehard Gator fan. Oh, this is tough. This is tough. I'm taking St. John's. It's Rick Pitino. It's Rick Pitino. My 13-year-old self is so mad at me right now. So mad at me. Because this is the team I grew up rooting for. This is the team that it was my dream school, and I was fortunate to get in, and I obviously ended up choosing Syracuse, but like I said, I based the majority of this bracket off of coaching. So not much more needs to be said to back that up, besides the fact that I have Tom Izzo versus Rick Pitino in my Final Four. If they go down, so be it. It's Tom Izzo, it's Rick Pitino in spots they've been in before. Duke, Alabama. RIP bench mob, but this would be the biggest bench mob game of all time. Marty Rico with a trip to the Final Four on the line. And I think Rico has a bus bet on this. If Alabama doesn't make the Final Four, I think he has to take a bus from New York to San Antonio, which I think I saw was like 30 or 50 hours or something. Well, Rico, get ready to learn Greyhound, buddy. Duke advances to the Final Four with Cooper Flagg and John Shire. And finally, it's Clemson and Kentucky for the 4th and final spot in San Antonio. A Duke, Kentucky, Michigan State, St. John's Final Four would be too good to be true. And that's why I'm taking Clemson. I don't see it happening. We have our Final Four. It's Michigan State. It's St. John's. Big 10, Big East, and then 2 ACC teams. This is tough. This is tough. This is tough. This is tough. Only 2 games left to pick. I'm going to take St. John's over Michigan State. I'm going to take Duke over Clemson. That leaves us with our national championship and last game of the tournament. It's Rick Pitino against Duke. It's Duke's year. It's Duke's year. It's Duke's year. If Cooper Flagg's healthy, they're the best team. And the Duke Blue Devils will be cutting down the nets in San Antonio. Give me a tiebreaker of 150 points. And there is my bracket. Submitted. There it is. Screenshot it. Do what you want with it. It's going to probably be wrong. But here's my Final Four. I have Clemson going to the Final Four. Everything else pretty chalky with some early mix of upsets in between as well. And there it is. My bracket. I'm going to write it and tweet it out because I love doing the old-fashioned written stuff. But here we have it. Michigan State, St. John's, Duke, Clemson. That's my Final Four. That's my bracket. It's probably going to be wrong. It'll probably blow up in my face. And I'm going to look like an idiot. And that's that. One last shout out to Roback. Use code Marsh, 20% off your order. I appreciate everybody watching. We've got over 14,000 watching live on Twitter, which is really cool. A whopping 23 people watching live on YouTube. So that's that. Maybe I'll do more of these videos if you guys want. Message me with more ideas, but I had to give the people a live bracket breakdown. A lot of this was done on the spot. I really didn't prep anything besides looking at KenPom for a little bit. So I'm going with my first instinct. This is my bracket. This is March. We have the tournament. This is the last day for the entire week that we don't have March Madness basketball, and that is a beautiful thing to say and hear. Roback, 20% off your order, code Marsh. Thank you guys for watching.